I never believed in love at first sight until I met Olivia at a friend's engagement party. There was something in her smile that warned me she was dangerous, the kind of woman you either fall for completely or regret ever knowing. I was Alex, a man who had always prized stability, routine, and predictability. My career in corporate law structured my days and disciplined my nights. I liked it that way. Olivia, however, brought a whirlwind into that calm, and I let it sweep me off my feet. We were drawn to each other instantly. Her laughter was sharp, almost mischievous, and she had a way of making everyone in the room revolve around her. But behind the charm, there was a subtle edge, a hunger for more than ordinary. I didn't notice it at first. I was mesmerized by her energy, the way she could make even mundane conversations feel electric. Within weeks, we were inseparable. Every plan I made, every evening I imagined as quiet and uneventful, became unpredictable, thrilling, and occasionally exhausting. Marriage seemed inevitable. I proposed during an intimate dinner, confident we knew each other well enough to endure anything. That's when Olivia smiled and said almost casually, "Our marriage won't last more than 6 months, Alex." I froze. I laughed, assuming she was joking, but there was a sharpness in her tone I hadn't noticed before, a subtle warning hidden beneath her words. A chill ran through me I couldn't shake. My friends thought it playful banter, but I sensed something far more deliberate. The wedding day arrived, along with the first hints of the chaos she had promised. Olivia was beautiful, magnetic, intoxicating, but unpredictable. She questioned every decision I made, laughed at the routines I cherished, and seemed to test my patience with every glance, every word. I stayed calm, reminding myself of her warning. 6 months. I had time to prove I could endure it, that my life wasn't so easily derailed. But there was an unspoken game between us, a silent contest neither of us acknowledged. It became clear the first evening in our shared apartment. Olivia didn't argue or shout, yet the tension was tangible. Arms crossed, leaning against the counter, she said with a smirk, 60 minutes, Alex. That's all it will take. I remained calm. I didn't panic. I didn't plead. I knew this was more than a statement. It was a challenge. I poured myself a glass of water, leaned against the kitchen counter, and kept my expression neutral. Olivia's eyes were sharp, almost predatory, but I didn't flinch. I had learned people like her thrived on reaction. Any sign of weakness was permission to push further, and I wouldn't give her that satisfaction. She circled the apartment like a predator, testing its territory, commenting on every detail. You really think this couch is enough? That rug? Do you even notice these things? Her tone mocked, but it wasn't just about furniture. It was a test of control. How much would I relinquish in my own home? I sipped my water, silent, letting her words hang. Her patience wasn't infinite, and I knew that calm would shift the game in my favor. She stopped suddenly, turned to me, and said, 60 minutes, Alex. That's all it will take for you to beg me to leave. I felt no panic, no anger, only quiet clarity. In her mind, she was already winning. She expected me to crumble under her intensity, her wit, her chaos. But I wasn't going to crumble. I was about to do something completely unexpected. I walked slowly toward the bedroom, each step deliberate and measured. She followed, confident she had set the pace. But I was leading it. You want this to be over in 60 minutes? I asked, calm, almost attached. She nodded, smiling, sure she had cornered me. Then let's do it your way, I said softly, and began gathering a few personal items from the closet. Her smile faltered. I could see the calculation in her eyes shift slightly, enough to know she realized she didn't fully control the situation. Alex, what are you doing? She asked sharply, uncertain now. I held a small bag, looking evenly at her. I'm giving you exactly what you wanted. Silence, then disbelief, then panic. Her smirk vanished, replaced by the sharp edge of fear. The apartment that had been her stage for control was now neutral territory. The balance had shifted. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't plead. Every motion was deliberate, a statement of intent. Olivia's confidence wavered as the reality sank in. The 60 minutes she had predicted, The moment she thought she would dominate had passed. She had underestimated someone who valued life, dignity, and calm over chaos and theatrics. By the time I reached the door, she stood frozen, speechless. The word she had wielded as a weapon hung useless in the air. I smiled faintly, not cruelty, but quiet triumph. It wasn't just about making her leave. It was about proving that control, respect, and composure are never negotiable. I opened the door, holding it wide, and gestured toward the hallway. Her lips moved, but no words came. Silence carried the message. I would not be tested, manipulated, or dominated in my own life. Finally, she whispered, trembling slightly, "Alex, this isn't how it was supposed to go. You can't just—" I cut her off, calm, deliberate. "I can and I did. You said 60 minutes. Olivia." That's exactly how long it took. No emotion, no anger, just fact. The quiet composure was heavier than any argument, louder than any shout. Her eyes darted around the apartment, searching for loopholes, allies, anything. But there was nothing. I handed her the bag. "Everything you need is here. Take and go." She hesitated, lingering, hoping somehow to reset the outcome. She couldn't. I waited, relaxed, steady. Time, which she had thought would favor her, now worked for me. Every second reinforced the shift in control. Finally, she moved, bag in hand, slow and reluctant. I opened the door wider, silently urging her toward the exit. The click of the door closing behind her was more than a sound. It was a final punctuation to a sentence she had tried to write for herself. Victory and domination she had imagined ended exactly as it should, with me standing firm, unshaken, unmanipulated. I exhaled slowly and leaned against the wall, a faint smile crossing my face. Not cruelty, but satisfaction born of self-respect, clarity, and understanding. Olivia had predicted chaos, panic, and submission. Instead, she found composure, decisiveness, and dignity. In a world of manipulation and dominance, there is power in stillness, patience, and knowing your worth. The apartment was quiet again, free from tension, free from tests, free from the storm she had brought. I had honored her challenge, and more importantly, honored myself. Life moves fast, but lessons linger. Olivia's 6 months never began. 60 minutes were all it took to reclaim control, reaffirm boundaries, and prove that respect cannot be bargained for. It must be upheld silently, firmly, by anyone who truly values themselves.